The book I would like to show you is David Smerdon, The Complete Chess Swindler, How to Save Points from Lost Positions. And here in the back you can read, chess is a cruel game. We all know that feeling when your position has gone awry and everything seems hopeless. You feel like resigning, but don't give up. This is precisely the moment to switch to swindle mode. Master the art of provoking errors and you will be able to turn the tables and escape with a draw, or sometimes even steal the full point. The book is interesting because it advocates clearly something that we should have in our minds more than on a chessboard, because we are playing against humans. We are not playing against computers. Against computers this wouldn't work, and we all know it. However, let me show you some examples from the book, because there are some interesting. First of all, the book is mainly by positions, not about entire games. Positions that want to illustrate something depending on the chapter. Okay, and here you have the list of the chapters. As you can see, the chapters obviously try to tell you about the psychology of the swindles, the swindler's toolbox, the skills, swindling in practice, because at the end of the book, if I remember well, yes, here we go, there is also a test, okay, a test of exercises. So it's really good, the fact that the author has put also some exercise to give you an idea if you remember the content and what it tried to taught you. Let me start with a position so you can understand better what I'm talking about. Okay, this position happened in the game Johanan Afek against Harmen Jonkman. It happened in 2002. Johanan Afek is 2329, Harmen Jonkman 2497, which is nearly a GM level. Afek is very famous because he composed chess studies, and he also solved studies. He has two beautiful books, if I remember. Yes, and they are mentioned here. The inclusion of a swindle by the author of Invisible Chess Moves and Practical Chess Beauty, I have Practical Chess Beauty, was mandatory. Afek shows that even with limited material, wonders can occur. Never lose hope. By the way, before I start to show you this position, I would like to tell you one thing that is always here at page 71, and that in my opinion is important, very important, if you want to learn chess. He says, the theory of infinite resistance. In the 1970s, an Australian player and trainer, FIDE master Bill Jordan, developed a philosophy closely related to grit and optimism. His theory of infinite resistance was designed to motivate players to stay positive and look for all possible defensive chances in each position. The theory basically says, in most positions, where you are facing a decisive disadvantage, if you continue to find the most challenging continuation on every move for the rest of the game, you will not lose. Okay, let's read it again. In most positions where you are facing a decisive disadvantage, if you continue to find the most challenging continuation on every move for the rest of the game, you will not lose. So this is why this is very interesting, because I think this is what computers do. Engines are able to find the most challenging move also when they are losing, and I have played against engines And sometimes, yes, I have a decisive material advantage and the engine is able to chip it away because I play inaccuracies or dubious moves that are refuted continuously. Then at a certain point you reach equality, but for you it's not equality because you were in a decisive advantage, so it's like you're losing, and then you lose that kind of strength, and then you lose the game when you could maybe just draw it. Okay, let's return to the game with Afek is white, this Jonkman is black, and the move is to Affleck that plays bishop c4. Very interesting, right? Because he let the passer go and he attacks f7. So let's see what's going on here. Black plays d3, in fact, but is dubious. It seems that the best move was bishop a6 because it was practically breaking this pin, because you see this is pin and this can take here, right? So this would break it. And what else? And he also would swap this bishop, which means then it can go up. So this was the move to play. Unfortunately, black played this. And black is practically a GM level player, right? F takes g6, and now, boom! Black plays d2. Is crazy, right? It seems that the right move was king f8. Instead, he didn't play it. Look what happens now. Bishop takes f7. You must be careful because bishops are really strong when they are together. So it's kind of danger, eh? Maybe black calculated only g takes f7 and not the bishop. Who knows why? King f8. Knight f5. And this is very scary because there is checkmate to the next move. Here or here, right? Or probably even, no, this not, because this fall. So it's this that is giving checkmate. So let's see what happens. And let's see what he says. An astonishing endgame attack with an unusual configuration, black and queen with check, but white's minor pieces are surprisingly well coordinated. Let's see what happened. d1, queen, check. King h2. A picturesque final position. One would normally expect that from one of Afek's studies rather than his games. There is no defense to checkmate, and so black resign. So what does that mean? Because if he was a real swindler, black, he should have played this, queen f4. But obviously you cannot really go for, like that, right? But in a blitz game that could happen, especially if you play in Washington DC, in the parks, or with other kind of chess player. Here I don't see a way to avoid the checkmate. Because knight e6, he plays this and it's checkmate. He cannot go here, cannot go here, cannot go here because of this. So I don't know. Yeah, very interesting. And notice that in reality it wasn't many moves. We saw it at move 29. This is just 3 moves later. So I don't understand 3-4 moves later that black didn't actually calculate. Okay, let's see another position. Okay, the following position comes from a game from 2019. White is Anton Demchenko, 2678. Black is the famous Domaraju Gukesh. in that time he was only 25, 29. Can you imagine? At this moment Gukesh is the challenger to the world champion, and probably after the match he will be the new world champion, the youngest ever. With that said, why am I showing you this game? Because the page before there is the 3 questions. No, it says it's all well and good to tell yourself to stay resolved, but it's quite another to put it into practice. When you are determined to make the most of your defensive resources, but don't quite know what they are, you can employ a useful technique we saw earlier, and which I call the 3 questions. Okay, so the questions are: what does my opponent want? You ask yourself what white wants in this position, because it's black to move, okay? How does he plan to achieve it? Of course, this question is really strange, because today we don't know if it's a he, she, they, it, bo, maybe. Okay, there are many choices, not only a he, but the book doesn't care probably. And then question number 3 is what's good about my position? Okay, now these questions are obviously developed a little in the page that follow, but I want to give you this position because obviously we are all going to admire Gukesh and see what he does. Plus it's obviously a brilliant young guy, because at 18 being the world challenger, we must definitely congratulate him. The game was played in Ho Chi Minh City 2019, and here it says black is the exchange down, but the situation is much worse than just a material disadvantage. The answer to the 4th of the 3 questions is clearly he wants to crush me on the king side. This is the king side, right? He wants to crush me. He. Then we have, and the breakthrough is only a few moves away. White intends to do this by pushing e6, which is a big threat. Gukesh has only one possible trump card, his pass b pawn. Okay. However, white seems to have it firmly under control, thanks to his queen on d3. And the rook on b3, both firmly guarding the queening square. Black continues the logical train of thought that started with the 3 questions, treating this like a problem-solving task. 1. How can I make use of my pawn by getting rid of a rook on b3? 2. How can I get rid of a rook by deflecting its protector, the queen? 3. How can I deflect the queen by luring her away with my rook? Let's see. 4. How can I do that? By moving it to d8 after first moving my king off the back rank. That's the answer in 4, right? So let's see what he plays. Obviously he plays king h7, and here it's given a double exclam. And here it says seemingly nonsensical, but we know better. Now f6 g6 doesn't achieve anything. And this move is not so good because there is queen c6. Okay? But White's original plan seemed to have grown in strength. Even the engine agreed. Okay. e6, and here Black plays a wonderful move that he just told us. Rook d8, double exclam. And here it says, the next stage of a plan, it's important to note that even if black had not foreseen the variations to come, these moves would still be worth playing. After all, trying to make use of a b-pawn is black's only practical chance, so he needs to promote. Rook takes d8, queen takes d8. Still winning, but queen f3 was the safest. So let's see what happens. Queen takes b3. e7, well, everybody's actually promoting, it seems. And now there is a great move, which is queen b7, check. A powerful intermediate check that serves two purposes. First, it rules out g1 as a safe square. Because if he plays king g1, there is bishop e3, right? Oh my god, very beautiful in fact. Well, I don't want to tell you all the variation. I think you can figure it out yourself, but it's really beautiful. Okay? And here he forces white to make a key decision one move earlier than he would have liked. He now needs to calculate the variation with the extra queen 2 moves in advance rather than one. Oh wow, that's really a problem. Yeah, it really increased the cognitive load. So you know what happened, that white, probably to avoid to calculate all this double queen variation, played a blunder. King h3. So let's see what happens, because this is very interesting. Okay, here there are some analysis diagrams that show what happened when they both queen up. That's interesting. But let's continue to see, because I want to see the thing. b1 queen, and that's why you should have always a set with double queens. e8 queen. Now threatening a deadly check along the back rank. Yes, checkmate here, right? While white king appears immune to all the checks. Woohoo! Let's see. No, I don't think he's immune. I don't think he's immune at all. How can he be immune? There is a problem. There is a queen takes h5, f5, and queen h1, checkmate. So let's see what happens, but I don't think he's immune, right? So, okay, can you spot the beautiful idea that Gukesh foresaw? Okay, this is the difference, okay, between us and Gukesh. But Gukesh saw everything from from king h7 and rook d8, while we just see it now. And in fact, it's just like I said, queen takes f5. It's the move, right? Because it cannot take, otherwise there is queen h1 mate. And then the second thing is, after this, black plays boom. And now it's over, because if it goes here, there is queen g2, checkmate. So the point of all of this is that Gukesh probably calculated, wow, like 6 moves. So as you can see, it's not only that he calculated 6 moves, but he calculated with the double queens in his head. And then the fact that, again, as you can see, it's important to play long classical games where you have time to calculate this kind of thing, right? Because if you don't have time, how do you do it? But this was really a fitting calculation, and that's why he's obviously a 2700 GM becoming world champion. Okay, I will show you other positions if you like them, and now let's close this video.